Hi, I'm Don Jergler, editor of Claims Journal. Thank you for joining us for Claims Journal's podcast. This regular video series on all things claims related is just one of several ongoing changes here at Claims Journal. We've launched a website redesign, beefed up our coverage of how AI and technology are transforming claims departments around the world, and we're now bringing you a steady stream of expert-written insight on trends and best practices in written and video formats. Stay tuned, there's more to come.
Hi, I'm here with Stephen Badger, and we're talking about public adjusters today. Hey, Stephen, thanks for being here.
Hey, Don, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Well, before we start on today's topic of bad public adjusters, to be fair, there are good PAs, and there are some good that PAs are doing. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. The majority of PAs, in my opinion, are good. There is a profession of reputable and professional public adjusters out there who are out there to help the insureds. And I will always support the role of the professional, well-trained public adjuster in the claim process.
Great. Well, yeah, that's good to have both sides of that. And can you give me your summary or perhaps like an anecdote of a public adjuster or an attorney involved with cases that have had some issues?
Yeah, there's, again, we have success with a lot of public adjusters. They do a good job. There's a need for them. They help an insured resolve a complex fire claim or a business interruption claim. So lots of good success stories. Now, I could go on at length about the problem claims that we have, including a recent one where there was a commercial building, 10,000 square foot TPO roof, and there was one bullet hole in the middle of the roof. Someone had shot a bullet up. It came down in the middle of the roof and put a hole in it. And the public adjuster took the position that that roof could not be repaired and a total replacement of the roof was necessary. And that was the position that was taken. They argued with the insurance company about it for several weeks. Finally, the insurance company called me up, asked me if there was any legitimacy to the argument. I laughed and I said, let me make a call to this guy. And I reached out to him and said, I double dog dare you to pursue this claim. And he dropped it. But those are the types of abuses that we see all the time with a growing segment of the public adjusting profession, which is what is worrying me.
Yeah, and actually, you and I just talked recently about another roof issue where there was a church mutual was involved with that, and a church had some roof damage from I believe a hailstorm, and I guess the figure was $2 million versus what was actually a $700,000 job.
Yeah, and this is a common problem we face that we use Xactimate estimates in the claim process. We'll use an estimate to determine initially what the ACV should be. Then we go set reserves based upon that. But the problem we have with a lot of public adjusters is that once the work is done, like the Colorado matter, what we owe is we owe the replacement cost, the amount actually incurred. But when we pay the amount actually incurred, there's really no way for the public adjuster to be paid. If it's a $2 million roof and we pay $2 million because that's what it cost, how is the PA paid? Well, the insured's going to have to go out of pocket. So this problem we have is a lot of PAs refuse to talk about real pricing and still want to live in the imaginary Xactimate world so they can juice up that estimate enough so they can get some money out of us and then cover their commission. And that is the problem we're seeing more and more of. I tell whenever I speak to PAs, I just spoke at the NAPIA, National Association of Public Insurance Adjusters Conference last week, and I told them the dirty little secret of your profession is that often, not always, but often, you are taking claim proceeds to pay your commissions as opposed to actually fixing the damage for the $2 million that you told us that it cost. And that's a concern.
Well, the current concern is actually increased to the point of there's been some pressure, right, on the public adjusting profession to address, I guess, abuses by some of the bad actors out there. This is something that's been brewing for a while, right?
It has been, and those voices are getting louder to raise complaints and concerns about the profession. And we're seeing more and more of that. And it's really coming from three areas. Number one, PAs are seeing pushback in the claim process, generally from insurance companies, because there's a general growing distrust whenever there's a public adjuster involved, which again is unfortunate for the good PAs. The bad actors drive the narrative. So that's the first thing we're seeing. The second thing we're seeing are anti-public adjuster endorsements, where carriers are actually putting provisions in their policies that tells the insured you can't hire a public adjuster, period, end of story. And then number three, as we recently saw in Kentucky, was a legislative effort to effectively ban the use of public adjusters in the negotiation process. All they can do is work behind the scenes and help the insured quantify the claim. And so those are the areas where there is growing pressure on public adjusters because of the increasing magnitude of the abuses by a small segment of the profession.
You mentioned Kentucky. I guess in April, the state passed, I guess, House Bill, was it 568? I guess it drastically restructures the PA industry in the state. What are some ramifications of that law? And you see it as a role model for laws in other states?
No, I don't want it to be a role model. I support the role of the PA in the claim process. So we've got to figure out collectively, working cooperatively with the professional PA community to find a balance where we can acknowledge and respect their role in the claim process, but also address the abuses that are driving us all crazy. And there has been recently some willingness on the professionals within the PA trade groups to have a dialogue about what we can do to fix the concerns that are driving us all crazy, and also then preserve the right of insureds to retain public adjusters.
Well, let me stick to that for a minute. So it sounds like the Kentucky law is maybe a bit restrictive. I mean, it does something, but it's a bit restrictive.
Oh, it's restrictive. A PA can no longer negotiate a claim in Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, I think it had a moratorium, no new licenses granted for 2 years. So effectively, what some people on my side want to have happen is they want to end the public adjuster experiment.
Right.
Public adjusters were acknowledged under statute for conduct that used to be considered the practice of law. I mean, that's the really interesting issue here. What public adjusters do up until about 25 years ago was considered by a lot of states in court decisions to be the practice of law. Therefore, public adjusters couldn't do it. So they went and got a legislative carve out from what constitutes the practice of law to allow them to negotiate insurance claims. And what's happened in Kentucky now is it's effectively taken that away. So only lawyers now can negotiate insurance claims in Kentucky. And there is a segment on our side, the insurance industry side, that would be tickled pink to eliminate all PAs in the country. Again, I don't want that. And there's a number of reasons. A, insureds should be allowed to retain someone to help them put their claim together. But secondly, if a PA is not hired, the insured is going to go to an attorney. That's just the reality. If they've got a concern, they're going to go to a lawyer if they can't get a PA. A PA is going to take 10%. A lawyer is going to take 40%, 30, 40, 45%. And that's going to cause two things. One, it's going to be harder to resolve the matter because the lawyer's taken so much of it. And two, odds are the homeowner is never going to have enough money to fix their damage because they gave 40% of it to a lawyer and the damage allegation is not going to get fixed. So for those two reasons combined, I support the role of the PA in the claim process. I don't want to see where everyone just has to go hire a lawyer. That's not good for anyone.
Any other efforts out there that are ongoing that we should touch on?
Yeah, I think right now our Texas legislature, we meet every other year. And the next Texas legislative session is in January of 2027. There is a growing discussion about perhaps using Texas as a role model of what we could do to perhaps amend our public adjuster statute, Chapter 4102 of the Texas Insurance Code, to increase the standards to become a PA, to increase the ethical standards to address some of the abuses we commonly see. And then also, very important, is additional enforcement. We need the departments of insurance, the regulators, to take more action to address the bad actors in the profession. So I think we're going to see a combination of those things happening in Texas in the months ahead. I know there's some meetings going on. There's some drafts floating around of things that could be done. And I really hope that because we've got a good community of reputable PAs, insurance company people here, policyholder attorneys, defense attorneys, we could come together and come up with something we can all like to fix the problem with the abusers in the system.
Another effort seems to be some of these to deal with this. Seems to be some of these anti-PA endorsements. How's that playing out?
Yeah, so I will tell you, I'm opposed to those because for the very same reason, it takes away the insured's right to hire a PA. In Texas, the TAPIA, the Texas Association of Public Insurance Adjusters, got a law passed two sessions ago to prohibit insurance companies from using those. The insurance industry did not oppose that. So besides Texas, where they're prohibited, yeah, we're seeing more and more of them. We're seeing them in Florida. We're seeing them in Louisiana. More companies are making the decision, you know what? Badger's wrong. We don't want to have to deal with PAs at all. So let's just put an endorsement in the policy that says that you can't hire them, period, end of story. And we're seeing more of those. And again, that's one of the reactions. And I keep telling the reputable PAs, come on, guys, increase the bar, increase the professionalism in your profession. So then we can show these people who want to end your profession that that's an overreaction. You're able to self-police, you acknowledge the problems, and you're willing to do something about it. And we have fixed problems in the Texas hail world and weather claims world in the past by working cooperatively with both sides. And this is an area where I hope we could do that in the months ahead.
Great. Well, this has been really great to have you, and I really appreciate the lowdown on all the stuff that's going on, Stephen. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to get the message out there, and thanks for all Claims Journal does. You guys were the first ones to allow me to write about the big hail mess. Right. Back in 2014, I wrote my What the Hail is Going On article, and it really took off, and I appreciate what Claims Journal does.
I'm going to have to look that up and float that up to the top of the page sometime.
Absolutely. The emerging hail risk. What the hail is going on? It was a fun article to write. In fact, I keep telling myself I need to do a follow-up now 12 years later.
Yes, you do. I'm looking for expert viewpoints all the time. So,
all right, I'll find a weekend. I'll sit down with a good glass of tequila, and I'll work hard and write another one for you.
It'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate the dialogue.